It might not be Jemison, but this ship is starting to feel like home.
Something you might be interested in.
Get out of my face.
You said the take was 10K, but it was 30. Big difference on 40% of 10 versus 30.
You wanted 4K, you got 4K. Not my problem.
If you're stealing from me, you bet your ass it's your problem.
You kidding me? Way to make a mess in front of my new rook.
Hey, steal from me and get caught? Better off dead.
Sounds like you did the fleet a favor. Now toss this body out of an airlock before it turns into a damn air freshener. The hell took you so long? Never apologize. Not if you want anyone in the fleet. And if they don't respect you, put a gun to their head and they'll get the message. But, all that aside, you made it. So now, you get to hear a nifty history lesson. Pencils ready? Good. This floating scrap heap you're standing on is called the Key. Used to be an old UC military star station, and now, it's the fleet's base of operations. Might look a little beat up on the outside, but we keep it together. You think? And that's only part of it. I'll let Delgato fill you in on the whole story. He tells it better anyway. But I can give you the short version while we walk the station.
Story time? How delightful.
Anyway, I'll tell you all about the Key. But it's better if I show you too. Follow me. All right. History time. So, the Key is in orbit around Suvorov. That's the very same ice ball where the United Colonies built a supermax prison they call the Lock. The UC is so clever. Supermax prison, Lock, Key. Cute, huh?
Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Dunnigan of SSNN, and this is Galactic Talk. My guest tonight is one of the most notorious criminals in the sound systems. His ruthlessness and desire for wealth has landed him squarely at the top of the wanted list for every major law enforcement agency in the galaxy.
Remember,
I am, of course, speaking of the self-appointed leader of the Crimson Fleet himself.
What the hell is this?
Jasper Cricks.
All right.
Good
Hang
evening,
on,
Mr. Cricks.
Mav. Before you get pissed,
evening,
I've got
Gail.
my hands full.
Thank you for
Jasmine,
accepting
sweetie,
my invitation.
I'm trying to give a tour here.
Yes, well,
so you want to tell me why those
being
damn doors are
blindfolded
sealed?
and then Graf jumped to
It's
what
called a
appears to be an
malfunction.
abandoned mining
You know,
facility
that thing I
isn't
spend
exactly
most of
what
my
I'd
day
call
dealing
an
with.
indication.
Believe me, my people are on it.
Well,
Have a little
I'm
faith
sure
for
you're not
once.
surprised that your request for an interview would come with
And
some
you
very
always,
specific
Angel.
conditions.
This here is
Frankly, I was a
Jasmine.
bit surprised to receive
You need
any
anything for
type
your
of
ship,
response
she's
at all.
got you covered.
Would you mind telling
Head
me
up the
why
depot
you
next
decided
since
to
these
do
doors have
this
given
interview?
out on us.
Because there
So
comes
anyway,
a time
we
in
were
every
talking
pirate's
about the
life
Lock.
where they have
About
to make an
100 years
extremely
ago,
important
the
decision.
prisoners down there rioted and took
Do
over
they
the place.
take a leap and become
After
one of the
stealing
most
some ships, they were
legendary
actually able to
pirates in
make it up
history?
here and took
Or do
over
they
the
simply
Key.
sputter on?
About time you brought us new
freighters,
blood, neighbor.
deep space
I was getting
privateers.
tired of trading with the same
So are we
old
to assume
faces.
that you are taking the leap?
You're just
That
ticked
Jasper
everyone's
Cricks
getting wise to your
is moving
ridiculous
on to
prices,
bigger and better
Elutra.
things in his life.
Anyway,
That's spot
welcome
on,
to the
Gail.
depot, Rick, where you'll be
That's
lucky if these
exactly why
blood-sucking
you're
leeches
here.
don't bleed you completely dry.
Interesting. Well then,
Whoa,
would you
whoa.
mind sharing with
It's
us
not our fault.
exactly
People
what
don't
your
appreciate how much it
particular
costs to get
leap
untraceable
entails?
merchandise onto the Key.
In due time.
Neva's just whining because she thinks she lost a ton of cash selling
In
us
fact,
a
I'd say
shipment of
we have
gear.
at least 12
She
hours
should have done
before
her
the
homework.
authorities trace this broadcast.
Yeah, sure,
Plenty of
laugh
time
it
to
up.
discuss whatever you
I'll remember
like.
that next time I need something
Oh.
from you cheapskates.
All right then.
Let's move on.
Perhaps the best place to start this
Back
interview
to my
would
story.
be at the beginning of your
After
career.
the liberated prisoners
Please.
grabbed the key, they established
Proceed.
it as a base of operations and began pirating the spaceways. That was how the Crimson Fleet began. Of course, Jasper Cricks had a lot to do with all that, but we'll get to him later. Rook, meet Zuri, queen of the rare exports.
If I don't have it, you don't need it.
Neuroamps, blueprints. Hit her up and she'll take care of you.
Speaking of which, you still owe me for that last purchase, Neva. It's like 5 figures. Don't make me collect it the hard way.
The hard way. Oh no. Rook, protect me from Zuri's vengeance. Enough of the bullshit, Zuri. I'll pay you when I pay you. Deal with it. Got a problem with that? Take it up with the boss.
Don't even
On the
try
right,
to rip me
got
off.
Bradley from
I
the
know
Trade
value when
Authority.
I see it.
I'm sure you know the deal there. He'll buy pretty much anything, no matter how high. Then we got our med bay on the left, run by the one and only Samina Mizra. She'll patch you up, if you've got the money. We don't run any free clinics up in here, you don't? Okay, this is our final stop. Over there, you've got the last Nova, where Bog serves watered-down drinks at ridiculously exorbitant prices. And right here is the most important place on the entire station, the Reckoner's Core, run by the incomparable Shinya Voss.
Another new Rook, Neva? I can't believe Delgato still lets you recruit given what happened with the last one.
You mean Austin Rape? It's been taken care of, all right? I don't like loose ends, and this Rook is the one who tied it off.
Perhaps next time you'll try to be a bit more discerning regarding your choices. It's far more cost-effective.
Yeah, love you too, darling. Anyway, Shinya handles our lifeblood. The money. We call him our Reckoner, but if you ask me, he's actually a pain in the ass.
And Neva will slit your throat if she thinks you'll bleed creds.
Go to hell, boss. Take care of our new friend here, or I'll find a way to pull the pin on that little party popper in your chest. Anyway, Shinya will get you set up in our system. I've got real work to do. Once you're done, head upstairs and I'll introduce you to the boss.
Time for a proper introduction. I am Shinya Voss, the official reckoner for the Crimson Fleet. And since Neva so thoughtfully mentioned it, yes, this is a bomb embedded in my chest. And no, I'll never know the meaning of the word humble. In fact, I find Delgato's idea of a security measure to be quite empowering. Glad you approve. Obviously, betrayal isn't taken lightly around here. Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have. For Delgato, the bomb grants peace of mind and a certain degree of safety. Essentially, but I sleep soundly knowing I'm one of the few that can piss Delgato off and live. Should I die, all of my knowledge, the accounts, the credits, it would be a mess. He wouldn't dare. He holds the trigger, but we all know that my death cripples the fleet. Call the bomb a weapon of last resort. It's why he's the boss. Of course, I'm not the first reckoner to bear a bomb under my ribcage, but Delgato was smart enough to continue the tradition. Now, let me get you set up. A moment while I convene with the Corps. Thanks to advanced modifications even Ryujin would envy, I can interface directly with our mainframe and the Galbank network. This allows me to move and clean credits faster and more efficiently than any run-of-the-mill cyber runner. There, you're done. All you need now is Delgato's blessing, and you'll be one of us. The perfect segue into my final subject. Thanks to our relations with contacts across the galaxy, we always have a steady stream of jobs available. I've granted you all the necessary permissions to access these listings at any time, using the computers that surround the core. If Neva's chosen wisely, we certainly will. Now, I believe that covers all I have to say, so you can run along to Delgato. Take the elevator to the upper level. You should be able to find your way from there, I hope.
Alright, listen up. You can all stop complaining. Atrium to cargo bay doors have been repaired.
So there I am.
Oh,
You see
and you're
security
welcome.
on my tail, and my grav drive just chokes. And you know what I find back there? The fattest leech I've ever seen. Worm nearly got me dusted.
Bogged grog is fine if you like cheap moonshine. Give me an Erded Brown Lager and I'm good.
Kinetics, electromags, energy weapons.
Where did your stellar rise to
Nothing to
infamy begin?
substitute for shotgun
In
blast.
the streets of New Atlantis. No parents, no godparents. Just a homeless punk kid robbing whoever he could for the credits.
Were these violent crimes? Murders?
I'm a bit offended you even asked that question, Gail. Sure, a few people here and there walked away with injuries, but I'm not some kind of butcher.
That doesn't sound as heartless as your reputation would imply.
Well, like I said, I was just a kid.
Were you ever caught by the authorities in New Atlantis?
Oh, dozens of times. I'd just give them a fake name, or they just slap me on the wrist and send me on my way. They obviously didn't think that I'd amount to anything, and didn't want to waste their time with rehabilitation.
What changed that? Was it the robbery in 2218?
2218. Oh, yeah. The Galbank archives. Very good, Gale. See, you've done your research. That would be when I rounded up a few of my buddies and we knocked the place over. Made off with a ton of credits. My first big score.
Are you looking to start something?
So, looks like, once again, I'm Jack. Like Neva said, you need ship parts, repairs? I'll hook you up. As long as your credits are good. It may not be wider, but it's not on the books if that's what you're getting. I can guarantee your ship will be in good hands. So, we got the best selection in the settled systems. Illegal, unregistered. Anything that keeps the UC and Freestar Rangers off your tail is a must-have in my book. Just let me know when you want to talk business. Neva's mine, so don't be getting any ideas. She may be a little rough around the edges, but she's just looking out for her own. There's no one better to have your back. Sure, it's not like I'm busy keeping this rut. Sounds like fun. Here to upgrade that ship of yours? I don't mind helping. And I need your cash. Ship services, if you've got the credit. Sure, sure.
Is Samina seeing anyone right now? Patience, I mean. I got a sword here.
I got a bounty so big, the Trackers Alliance had to beef up their servers just to keep tabs on it.
You want to survive? I'll only the... See ya.
The right protective.
I'm here if you need me.
Ask a jazz about any ship.
Well.
Nothing
Everyone.
more than a pirate ship with no personality.
Hey, if you want to... I carry most of... Occasionally, I stop. Just don't screw me over or I'll... Oh, we are... A little advice, son. You bleed for the fleet. Anyone who says otherwise is either lying or getting ready to stab you in the back. Well... Most people just glaze over and learn the hard way. I bet I have something. Need more weapons or ammo? Come see me. I don't need to hear about your latest project. You know my sister. You either somehow won her approval. Best not to think about it too much. Behold. We're done here? Great. Please tell me you know exactly what material. Need something? This better be... Oh, bye, I guess.
I hope you came with... come back and see me sometime.
Need something?
What'll it be, friend? Buying? Selling? The Trade Authority takes... The fleet's got an impressive They even managed a legitimate doctor. Business on the Key is like no other. It's the sole reason Not everyone thinks so. There are a few, Neva included. Regardless, as long as the fleet has goods to push, the Trade Authority will always maintain a presence on the Key. I was hoping you'd say that. Your credits are always good at the Trade Authority.
Got some health issues you need help with? First time visiting the infirmary, huh? Let me give you a piece of advice. Try not to get into too many bar fights. I'm trying to save my dwindling supplies for sale and pirates coming in off of raids. That's what they all say, until they stumble in bleeding out on my floor. So here's what's what. You need medpacks, curatives, preventatives, I've got you covered. You need enhancers, legal or illegal? I've got those too. Hopefully that will... Now, if you don't need anything else... Medical, recreation... Take care of yourself.
Rook?
Always listen to Delgato. Unless you want to get...
Gotta make sure to train every day. Bad aim and bad health will get you killed. If I had a Birion crest, I'd run my own city, like Bayou. Except in my tower, you could do
I like my weapons like I like my coffee. Scalding.
That last click. Is so satisfying, isn't it?
Let me just ask you one final question before we wrap up.
Fine. Go ahead.
When is enough going to be enough? How many credits does Jasper Cricks need until he's satisfied?
I should have expected you to ask such a stupid question. How the hell could you ever understand? You with your fancy education.
So wait. Say that again. You think I'm home?
Stop playing games. We both know your real name is Leonel Soto, and you know why I'm here.
Who are you? Fleet? Ecliptic? An independent?
Man, I get so tired of pirates on this station patting themselves on the back. I killed this, I stole that. Shut the hell up and get back to work.
Better get a move on before Dale sees you slacking.
Tell us about your arrest.
For God's sake,
Oh,
drop some of that
my
rubbish
arrest was
already.
spectacular. Definitely one for the record books. UC Security sent an armada after our little fleet of ships and picked us off one by one until the remainder of us made it to the wheel.
For our listeners' benefit, that was the star station in orbit around Voli that you destroyed just before your arrest, correct?
You see, that's what they'd have you believe, but the truth is much less sinister. There was a firefight on the wheel when they tried to bring us in. We holed up, but UC Security unleashed hell. The damage they caused was catastrophic. We only surrendered so we wouldn't die when the station exploded.
Well, the UC says you set demolition charges to try and cover your tracks and make your escape.
That's their story. You'll have to go with your gut on what you think really happened. Anyway, they took us in and tossed us into the lock. That lovely resort they opened on Suvorov.
And you were imprisoned there for how long?
Well, it was supposed to be for life, Gale. But I ended up serving 2 years before I decided I'd had enough.
Is there any particular reason that you started the riots that eventually led to the worst prison break in United Colonies history?
Yes. I'm quite proud of that, actually.
Need a drink?
I honestly didn't think it would go as well as it did. As for the reason,
probably thinks we're a bunch of mindless
the UC were treating us like animals. The conditions in the lock were ridiculously bad and no one cared. That's why they stuck us on that ice ball in the first place. Out of sight, out of mind.
Your escape caused the deaths of many that were stationed at the lock. Some would brand that as a bit dismissive for what you're describing as a protest. If you were simply advocating for your fellow inmates, why didn't you just go through the proper channels?
And what the hell was I supposed to do? Send a strongly worded letter to my duly appointed representative? Wake up. The UC only responds to actions, not words. In my mind, there was no other choice. You know what? Let's move past my time at the lock so we can get to the point of this goddamned interview.
Tell us what the future holds for the Crimson Fleet.
Changes are coming, Gale. Huge changes. Crimson Fleet will soon be a much bigger player in this little game between the members of the settled systems.
That's quite a bold statement. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, let's just say that I'm on the brink of a score so large, it makes everything else pale in comparison. Beyond that, you'll just have to wait and see.
If you aren't willing to discuss the details, why grant SSNN this interview?
So, now that we are all here, it's time to get down to business. The two of you are the only rooks that have made the latest cut. The rest, well, let's just say they won't be joining us ever again. Neva's willing to put her neck on the line and vouch for you, which means you've got what it takes to join the Crimson Fleet. You'd better not disappoint, or you'll find yourself answering to me, personally. All right, let's get started here. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for the long haul. No one quits. No one retires. The only way out is death. You stay loyal, or you pay the consequences. Fleet before friends. Fleet before family. Fleet before yourself. Boss. Good. You're getting it already. I like that.
Can we get on with this? I want to get drunk at the last Nova.
I'm impressed. That is the first intelligent thing you have said this entire time, Mathis. Since you two seem so eager to move forward, let's get to your next job. Pack your cold weather gear, Rooks. Where we are going, you're going to need it.
Oh, God, don't tell me you're dragging him down to Suvarol for another one of your little initiation runs. 10 Johns to the surface, 12 dead Rooks. You'd think by now you would have given up on that goddamn campfire story.
Crix's legacy is no story, Neva. We've got fresh eyes in the fleet. And if these two want to impress, they're going to help me search those ruins.
I hope you're right, Dale. That new code we grabbed for the lot cost us a ton of credits. And a decent captain.
This initiation, as Neva calls it, is your chance to see where it all began. On Suvorov with Jasper Crix. Crix led the riots that gave birth to the Crimson Fleet. And if his legacy is still out there, we're going to be the ones to find it. Before Crix left the fleet, he left a message talking about a major score. One that would set up the fleet to be a big player in the settled systems. Somewhere down the line, they started calling it Crix's legacy. And everyone who's tried to find it has wound up empty-handed, missing, or dead. If we're gonna beat those odds, we'll first need a lead. And I would wager we will find one on Suvorov.
Dale's leaving out the best part. That this whole search is based on a handful of words on a very old slate. Crix left a lot of big talk on that recording, and not a lot of facts. Some of us believe in it more than others.
Don't listen to her. When we get our hands on Crix's legacy, the fleet will be operating at a completely different level. We will become more than a match for UC Sysdef. Exactly. Now you're beginning to understand. Okay, enough discussion. To that end, the next stop is the lock. I've had Jazz feed the coordinates into your ship's computer. Since Mathis doesn't have a ship, he's going to ride with me. I'll see you down there, Rook. Don't keep me waiting. I could tell you stories that would last for hours. But now is not the time. You have it. When you... Well, if... I think those recordings might give you the history lesson. I would rather you spent your time here. The UC built the lock as a supermax prison a little under... Well, it must have been at least 100 years ago. Before that, those concha de sus madres marooned prisoners on the planet's surface and left them to their own devices. As you can imagine, these turned into some kind of demented survival of the fittest. Prisoners killing each other for a chance at meager supplies. Luckily, some whistleblowers back in New Atlantis saw this as cruel and unusual punishment and pressured the UC into building the facility. 5 years after the prison was completed, Crix touched off the riots that overran the lock and eventually the key. Nobody knows exactly what went down. I mean, there's all sorts of rumors. Crix was in prison for almost 5 years, and judging from the look of the facility, every moment must have been miserable. I suppose he just got fed up and decided to take matters into his own hands. Got the prisoners behind them and kept pushing until he reached the key. The cojones on that guy. UC's toughest supermax prison, and he just waltzed the hell out of there like it was nothing. I would love to have been a part of that.
Every time I see Radley smile, I want to punch him in the face.
If you need credits, hit up the mission boards at the core.
Heading out. May, want to look into some armor upgrades first.
So, tell us about Jasper Crix's version of the Crimson
You're
Scar.
carrying too many odds and ends.
All I can tell you is that under my guidance, the Crimson Scar became more influential than every other syndicate combined. Here I was, 22 years old, and I had power, people that followed my orders, and an endless stream of credits. Gale, I have to tell you, I was having the time of my life.
So you'd consider extortion, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, assault, and murder to be positive life influences?
No. I'd consider them as just means to an end. Those so-called crimes were merely stepping stones until I had enough wealth to buy the Crimson Scar a few spacecraft.
Yes, let's talk about that. It appears you weren't satisfied with terrorizing New Atlantis alone.
Oh, I've never stopped reaching, Gale. The amount of money we were making in New Atlantis was decent, but the really big scores were in space on the cargo ships. We're talking millions of credits, maybe more. Who the hell could count it all?
Most people assume this is when the UC decided to actively set up a task force to pursue the Crimson Scar.
That's correct. Those idiots in charge of the United Colonies were clearly embarrassed that they had allowed the Crimson Scar to make the jump into space. They sent ships after us. Lots of ships. I almost think that they enjoy starting the wars.
Perhaps this was the first time you had finally reached too far.
You could say that. I count my time running the Crimson Scar as a learning
You might find a deal or
experience.
two here. If you can overlook the
I wouldn't
spatters
say
of
I reached
blood
too far.
covering all the stolen goods.
I'd say I reached too fast. Didn't cover all my bases. Made some stupid mistakes.
Let's see what we have
One
now.
thing's for certain, though. When I was finally arrested and thrown into the lock, I had plenty to think about.
In the fleet, you either put up, shut up, or die. Your choice.
But today, perfectly ended with the fight.
I heard Iswa's sister is some hardcore mercenary. Rico uses Steph's sharks.
It's just really fair. Why is it every time we go out and do a job, it's you who ends up with all our credits?
My friend's got a point, Bob. Every pirate in this joint comes to the middle.
I need something bigger.
Hey, Cap. You hiring? Got some baddies on my...
Much bigger target right here at home.
I suppose I can't rightly blame you for that. It's the Varun Zealot. They're easy enough to avoid in places like this, but...
First off, the creds you spend here go to the fleet.
If the Varun Zealots don't...
If either of you bums lay a finger on my shirts,
Sure, fine by me. Sounds like a plan.
Too many missions, not enough time.
Always listen to Delgato. Unless you want to get killed all across the
something we can get for you?
The fleet protects our home. You turn against
Certainly. Let's talk about something else. How did the Crimson Scar become the Crimson Fleet?
I'll look into
After I
start
busted
something.
out of the lock, I decided to take things to the next level.
Well,
I had the
this
key.
cozy. It appears we've stumbled across the embodiment of the phrase
Ex-cons at my side.
absolute
But
mayhem.
I needed more. So I sent out the call. Once word got around, didn't take long.
And this is how the Crimson Fleet was born.
What's good, Cap?
Exactly. The key became our base of operations.
You want to stay on? You've got.
I don't know about you, but I think the welcome sign really lends itself to the alluring charm of this star station.
Is Samina seeing anyone right now? Patience, I mean. I gotta sort you.
Yeah?
Nothing like the smell of a dead shark after you cook them with an energy blast.
Hey, thanks for interrupting my daydream.
1 cleared for docking. Welcome home to the Vigilance.
I'll head to my crew position.
Lieutenant Toft is as organized as they come. You can be sure she'll correct.
Anything new to report? Glad to hear it. Let's see what you got. Benjamin Bayou, pride of the Freestar Collective. The authorities there have been trying to nail, bringing us proof that he's been manipulating Generdyne from the shadows is pretty tasty stuff. The FC will pay dearly for this. Anything else? So, Mr. Yasso is actually Lionel Soto. We thought Soto was dead. At least, that's what the records told us. I'll have the records updated, but seeing as Mr. Yasso has surrounded himself with the Crimson Fleet, that it? Finally. We've been tracking the Jade Swan for almost a year, but Captain Dayu's somehow remained one step ahead. Every time we've scanned that ship, it's come up empty. Well, she's not going to skate away. Any other fragments? All right. They're pirates in every... That makes them especially dangerous. But hopefully it makes them a little more predictable, too. Let me know if you need anything else.